Hello, my name is Charles, and in today's video, we are going to talk about seriousness and the paradox of seriousness. Why everything is utterly non-serious, yet utterly profound and important, and you should take it as such. So, this paradox, right? Because on one lens, right? If we look at life from one lens, my physical body and brain, right? This neurophysiological meat sack of chemicals firing and neurons wiring and all that jazz. This whole thing right here, I'm grateful for God. I think He gave me a sporty model. I'm not going to lie, but it's just going to perish. And it is like a tiny pop-up window on a computer watching porn, right? So okay, that's kind of crazy, but let's imagine, right? God for a moment is like watching, a YouTube video, and a pop-up window shows up. We're like the pop-up window. We get, we pop up, and in the time span of Earth and the cosmos and what God has made, we pop up for like 80, 100, right? If we're lucky, maybe like 120 or something, or unlucky, depending on how you look at it. We live longer, and then we're out. Just our physical body and brain are just out of here, right? So in that sense, right, when you're being super uptight and super serious, it's like, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? That is ridiculous. And like you're like a, and then you look at how grand, and big the cosmos is, and you're like, I'm a micro speck on a speck, right? If this is just one planet on bigger, on a solar system of bigger planets and a huge cosmos, I am a micro speck on a speck in an infinite, almost infinite container. And so if I'm that, then, yeah, what am I being so serious for? You know what I mean? What am I really, just being so uptight? What am I doing? What am I, that's ridiculous. And then on the other hand, right, on the flip side of that, right, and this is literally at the same time, your experience, your present moment experience and well-being, right? What is going on right now in this very moment, and life as it is as such is just the only important thing that's going on right now. That's right. The well-being and state of affairs is the only important thing going on. Not only your well-being, but the well-being of your loved ones and society and the cosmos or people at large is really the only important thing going on right now. And so, given that right now is so profound, right? If you can be present with the moment of right now, right? Whether you're watching this YouTube video or whether you are, whatever you're doing, right? You get this temporary pop-up window. You're like, oh my gosh, every moment is so precious because the well-being right now is really, that's what I have. What I have is that's what's important. What's going on right now, that's what's important. And so, in well-being of our lives and the people we love and of around us, that's what matters, right? And so, yes, it's non-serious on one level, but on another level, you can have the conception pop up in your head, oh, it's non-serious, but everyone around you, including you, wants to be well. Your drive and desire for completeness and wholeness and happiness is going to be there, no matter what thought you have in your head. So, so now that we have that, we're like, okay, so now it matters, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, but it matters. And if we can just get to the agreeance, I think ultimately, if humans, right, beyond conceptions, right, beyond frameworks for how it exactly has to work, can just fundamentally agree that really we just want well-being, on some level. Like we don't have to agree on all the details, but fundamentally, we want the highest possible good for ourselves and the people we love, and we want to avoid the worst possible worst for everyone that we love and ourselves. So if we can agree on that, then okay. And if everyone could agree on that, right, that at least directionally, that's where we're going anyways, whether we admit it or not. So if that's where we're going, then we could work out the details. It's like a negotiation. I think that's what society is. Society is like a lived negotiation on how we're gonna, organize well-being in a big group of people. And so this is kind of the paradox, right? The seriousness and non-serious. So be serious about, enjoying existence, about giving joy, about, being complete and whole, giving your spiritual gifts and your material gifts and your skills, whether it be in your workplace or your job and practical life. If you can give as much joy and wholeness and happiness from a place of wholeness and happiness, then you're doing it right. That's the goal. And that's the thing to be serious about. But do it in an utterly non-serious way, because, you do realize that, like, in a blip of an instant, God could just click off the pop-up window, You just click off it. Heaven forbid he smite you down, right? And you're like a porn pop-up window and he smites you down. But heaven forbid, right? Heaven forbid for me too, right? But we don't know. We don't know when we're going to go. So we can do everything from like an utterly non-serious attitude, but be serious about acknowledging the well-being of the people we love and ourselves in the present moment experience. That's what the concern is. And we want to do well there. And so I hope this is, in living with that paradox, that beautiful paradox, I think is the dance of life, or is part of the dance of life. And I hope people listening when they hear that is like, that is kind of true, right? Because they're an infinite, a near infinite amount of philosophies in the world, right? For as many humans, there seems to be philosophies and ideologies. But if you can just, do a little two-step, do a little, pull back from those and be like, well, my philosophy is aimed at well-being. And it, whatever the highest possible well-being is. And it is, in essence, to avoid the worst possible suffering. Well, we're all in agreement there. So that's what we should be serious about. And we can, as we're bringing that to fruition and interacting with each other, we can joke around and enjoy and not be so uptight while we do it. And I think that balance of levity, but then also recognition of what's important, is what allows us to do well in life. Because it's not that, we're going to be like, depressed nihilists who are 16 years old and just read Will to Power, and they're like, nothing matters. And, depressed and sad and angry and bitter and miserable. But we're also not going to be like so uptight and so serious that every single moment or every single thing and, what they said and what is right? Not everything matters, but not nothing matters. And I think our present moment experience, the well-being of ourselves and the people we love, that's what matters. And if we can just agree on that, the details of how we get there, we can all figure out, and we can all, negotiate with each other on how we do it. But at least we know we want the highest possible good and the lowest possible, or avoid the lowest possible worst for everybody. God bless, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.